Today on Did I Mention Invention? Pigs, pugs, and alpacas giving wheels a whirl. The tough tech tackling a heady problem. The musical twist of lighting your wrist. Freezing the future of our flora and food. And the inventors of tomorrow.
What advice would you give your peers who are inventors?
If something fails, just keep going at it, try to find different solutions.
I'm Allie Ward, and I've traveled across the country and around the globe to meet inventors who are making the world a better place. Join me on this journey of the ingenious and inspired as I ask the question, did I mention invention?
Remember when the wheel was invented? Okay, me neither. But I know it was a while ago because I saw Fred Flintstone had them, and that was like the Stone Age. But of course, wheels are used to help us humans in thousands of ways. Now, I was lucky enough to meet a few humans who are spreading our wheel tech by giving our failing four-legged friends a chance to be fast again. Oh, and did I mention? Major cuteness. Major.
Dogs love to run in the freedom of wide open spaces. But not all dogs can run, and some have a hard time even walking. Fortunately, one family has been in the business of making innovative custom wheelchairs for animals since 1999. Eddie's Wheels is a nexus of new beginnings, owned by Ed and Leslie Grinnell and their daughter, Chris. These are the caring hands that make mobility a reality again for disabled dogs and other animals. I traveled to Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts to learn more.
Hi, who's this?
This is Sadie.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, pretty.
Sadie came to them unable to walk, but now she's finding her way. A tough little learner of life without wheels, and now with. Eddie's Wheels doesn't just do wheels for dogs. In fact, they have just one prerequisite.
If it was designed to have 4 legs, we'll do it. We don't do poultry. We don't do birds.
Imagine a cat on wheels, a pig on wheels,
There you go.
a rabbit on wheels, an alpaca on wheels, and of course, dogs of all sizes.
So these guys are our research and development team.
Are they product testers at all?
Yes, they are.
Front wheel carts, rear wheel carts, and even quad carts are made here in all sizes. Constructed of lightweight aluminum, every single custom-made cart is designed to be both sturdy and stable. This pug named P came in desperately in need of a rear wheel cart, and once fitted, his body knew just what to do, and he could walk again.
Oh my gosh, Pete! So good, so fast!
For me, seeing the dogs actually reattach themselves to their bodies and say, yeah, I am more than my disability. I can let go of being disabled. I can be a little powerhouse dog again is the most important thing.
I can't believe it. My God, so amazing.
Eddie began making carts in 1989. The first was for his then aging dog, Buddha, whose picture still hangs above his drafting station.
I stole 2 wheels off my daughter's red flyer wagon, and I made her a wheelchair, and it worked.
How critical is it for dogs to have this mobility? What happens if a dog isn't able to run around? What happens?
Generally, they get depressed and they die. They can get various infections from dragging themselves around. And you give them back their mobility. They don't care that there's wheels. They just care that they can go. I decided to do this as a retirement hobby, and it got a little out of hand.
How many carts have you made?
Over 21,000.
That is not a hobby.
No.
Now, you're the head engineer, but you're also learning to design as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've been designing rear wheel carts for about a year now, and Sadie's wheelchair was the first front wheel cart that I ever designed and built myself.
Does it make all the hard work that you put into it easier to know that you're making such a difference in so many people's lives?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Definitely.
And that difference is getting our furry friends freewheeling again, with wheelchairs that give pets and their owners a renewed spring in their step. When we come back, taking the crackle out of the tackle, wrist lights are swarming and part of performing, and securing seeds for the rainiest day. But now it's time for another alley fact. Suitcases have been around for hundreds of years, but what 1970 innovation reinvented the suitcase? Was it a plastic shell, wheels, or zippers? You unpack those choices and we'll see which answer takes flight when we come back. Welcome back. It's time for this answer to arrive. Before the break, I asked, what 1970 innovation reinvented the suitcase? If you said wheels, you are correct. This, of course, was one of the most obvious inventions of all time. But you and I didn't think of it. It was Bernard D. Sadow who came up with the idea while lugging his suitcases through an airport. When he got home, he put casters on the suitcase, added a strap to pull it with, and got a patent for his rolling luggage. And for an alley fact inside of an alley fact, amazingly, man landed on the moon a year before wheels made it to suitcases. Yikes.
The word dummy is pretty much frowned upon in our universe. I mean, seriously, you call someone a dummy and they're likely to hit you right back with, I know you are, but what am I? Well, now the football world is getting into the dummy business. But these won't talk back. These are running backs. So I met with some of the inventors who are tackling a heady issue. Oh, and did I mention what helmets do to your hair? But it's worth it.
Football is a game filled with passionate players, high adrenaline, and hard hits. Concussions are a risk in all contact sports, but it's the football field that has become center stage for the conversation about head injuries and how to reduce the risk of them. I traveled to Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, where 5 years ago, tackling at football practices was discontinued in order to reduce the risk of injuries.
Nice. It just takes its toll. You have so many hits in your body, in my mind, and if you use them on the practice field, you don't have anything left on game day. So we've tried to minimize the hits during the week and then maximize potential on Saturdays.
Inspired by his son's robotic race car, he had an idea to create a tackle dummy that could move.
We turned it over to the engineering department, and they did a wonderful, wonderful job. So now we have MVP, and it's making a difference in our football program.
MVP stands for Mobile Virtual Player, and it's now a fixture on the Dartmouth practice field. It's a remote-controlled, battery-operated robotic football player.
It's firm, it bounces back quickly, it's deceptively fast. And one of the neat things from a football standpoint is there's no cues or clues. When a running back slows down, you can see his feet slow down, his arms spread, but the MVP, it just stops on a dime.
Getting the MVP from prototype to functioning player took the energy of committed people in the engineering department, including these guys, Elliot Kastner and Quinn Connell. Elliot and Quinn are both Dartmouth engineering alums and former football and rugby players, respectively.
We started going out to the field at practices, taking player feedback. Players liked the idea of, rather than tackling a cone shape, having something that's a little more human with a shoulder.
And where are the brains in the motor?
So all of that's housed within the foam. So the foam does a great job of not only protecting the players from the drive system, but it also protects the drive system from the players. And that's all on the inside.
How has the MVP changed the dynamic on the field?
Well, the biggest thing has been injury reduction. Concussive head injuries are way down. We're a top-ranked defense nationally, and we had 0 concussions on the defensive side of football.
We are the same height at 5 feet 5 inches. The MVP has a 60-pound weight advantage at 180 and hits speeds of 20 miles per hour to my, 6.
All right, pull in. Ow. It's in my mouth. Okay, move in.
Head coach Stevens took a moment to train up this rookie and let me have a go at the MVP.
You're going down.
First, I warmed up.
Oh, those pads are heavy. Ow.
And then it was time.
1, 2, 3, let's go. Nice! Go, 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 go.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing? How you doing?
Go.
All right. Ow. I'm good, I'm fine. I'm just gonna take a minute.
But MVP is not just for fun, and not even just for football. The mobile virtual player has far-reaching applications across the world of sport, and the MVP is fast becoming an innovation and safety VIP. one that will keep players fit to play another day. Coming up, creating the woe that is part of the show, and the seedy insurance for insuring the globe. But now it's time for an Alley Fact. So here's a catchy question. What animal helped invent Velcro? Was it a cat, a dog, or a buffalo? We'll give you the answer, but you have to stick around till after the break. We're back, and apparently, so are you. So before the break, we asked, what animal helped invent Velcro? If you went with dog, you're correct. In 1941, Swiss engineer Georges de Mestral came back from hunting with his dog. The pooch's fur was covered with thorny burrs from the woods. De Mestral put one of the burrs under a microscope and saw each had hundreds of tiny hooks that caught on anything. Then he developed the hook and loop fastener, later known as Velcro. But it took years before it hit the mainstream when NASA began using it on spacesuits. And that's another Alley Fact.
Remember at concerts when the crowd used to hold up lighters at the end of the show to coax the band out for one more unplanned song? Well, those days of creating thousands of little fire hazards are over. I met up with the people transforming lights in the darkness into major performers in the show. And did I mention? Rock on.
Light can transform everything, natural or man-made. This is Vincent Leclerc, and as co-founder of a company called Pixmob, he sees light not only as a source of illumination, but as a source of human connection.
The original goal of Pixmob was to make light shows in crowds. We could create a big, amazing light show in stadiums and big rock concerts. Eventually, we turned into a company that wants to create experiences for people.
Located in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, I caught up with Vincent at the Pixmob offices to see how the Pixmobsters use light, imagination, and tech to bring people together.
So what am I holding in my hand here?
So you're holding a wristband that changes color remotely. We give everyone in the crowd those wristbands, and we can remote control those wristbands to change color. The idea behind it was to use the energy of a crowd and augment it with light, by giving everyone an object that magically changes color with music, with key moments in an event. Well, we can augment that energy and make people live something special.
Pixmob has done concerts, the Super Bowl, even the Olympics.
The first time that these light up, everybody goes, and you hear 80,000 people going, and that's pretty amazing.
With a master's degree in media technologies from MIT, Vincent took his artistic and scientific talents and found a way to marry them through the beauty of light.
What's the technology behind that?
All right, so we have this way of talking to these wristbands with infrared. So we're kind of sending Morse code over light. So we use invisible light to make visible light. We can do really complex visual effects.
So are you kind of like a wizard up there controlling this?
Yeah, we have people who are our wizards. They use these crazy machines with faders and buttons, and at key moments during the event, they press a button and the entire crowd starts changing color, making waves, making fireworks, and things like that.
That human connection I mentioned is taken to a new level with Pixmob's latest innovation, which does much more than create light.
What do they do?
Imagine you're in a show and you really like the song that's playing on stage. You just click to like. You click and it saves it in your profile online, and then you can get a video of that specific song that you just watched.
Oh my gosh. So this is just one click, you'll get it later, so you can actually experience the event.
Exactly. What gets me up in the morning is knowing that people will live something visceral. They will experience something new that they've never experienced. So that whole element of magic is really key in what we do.
Magically connecting people who click through human interaction rather than impersonal virtual clicks. After a break, saving the world one seed at a time. That and more are next on Did I Mention Invention?
planning ahead for when things don't go your way is pretty much the whole idea behind the insurance industry. Now, you can insure your car or your home, your life, and if you're a social star, you can insure various picture-postable body parts. Now, there's one huge, little-known insurance policy that's kept on ice, deep underground, but this is actually insurance for the world.
Deep inside a mountain in the Norwegian Arctic desert live hundreds of thousands of seeds from all over the world. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault is a huge safety deposit box for the seeds from more than 200 countries. Think of them as backup copies of the world's most important crops. We need them in case of disasters, war, or even power failures at seed banks in other countries. This seed collection preserves crop traits that otherwise could be lost forever. Kerry Fowler is the man behind the Svalbard Vault idea, and I spoke with him from his home in Rhinebeck, New York.
Kerry, thank you so much for joining us on Did I Mention Invention?
Well, thank you. It's great to be with you.
First of all, why do we need a seed vault?
Well, we need a seed vault because we need the diversity that's held inside the seed. We know that the environment is always changing, pests and diseases are changing, the climate is changing, and we need our agricultural crops to be adapted to these changes.
Can you give me an idea of how many types of seeds are stored in the vault?
We have more than 850,000 different samples. Just to give you a couple of examples, we have about 125,000 different kinds of wheat and also about 125,000 different kinds of rice.
All collected within the last 8 years and housed in the vault, built so far north, very much by design.
It's 78 degrees north, more than 1,000 miles north of Oslo, Norway. And we went that far north because we wanted to put it in a location which was naturally cold. In the seed vault itself, it's about minus 18 Celsius, which is about minus 3 or 4 Fahrenheit. So it's chilly.
The sub-zero temperatures help preserve the genetic history of each seed. The vault itself is made of rock. Builders carved out a portion of the mountain, then created a tunnel. And that's important because the vault is meant to last forever.
It's certainly meant to last for as long as we need diversity in agriculture, and I frankly, from a scientific standpoint, can't imagine the day coming when we would not.
Kerry, I'm packing my parka. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
In just a moment, the inventors of tomorrow. Welcome back to Did I Mention Invention? The inventors and innovators who will shape our future are all around us. These creative minds often get their first chance to showcase their ideas through school science competitions. They are inventing tomorrow.
You're holding different parts of a puzzle, and I have no idea what's going on.
We have a water heater sensor, and this is our sensor right here.
Okay.
So basically, in a water heater, when leaks start to form, a lot of people have this problem.
Oxygen starts attacking the main steel tank, and we couldn't bring our whole water heater, so we had to cut out part of it.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't bring a whole water heater?
Yeah. So basically, you hook up the sensor into the 2 wires inside of this inner rod. We made a sensor to alert the client once this is all used up.
So the rod rusts before the inside, and this tells you, hey, your rod's looking a little rusty. You're gonna wanna replace it before it starts attacking the shell.
Yeah.
Kind of like putting out bait to distract rust, right?
Yeah.
Got it. What advice would you give your peers who are inventors?
If something fails, just keep going at it, try to find different solutions, and always use whatever you have around you.
Well, I think you guys have iron will. That's a rust joke. I want to say something about you guys getting in hot water with your inventions, but that also doesn't work. But congratulations on making this. This is so cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Allie Ward. We'll see you next time on Did I Mention Invention?